Hello and welcome back to the channel. First of all, as always, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for liking and subscribing to the channel and for also providing comments. I will keep making the videos if you keep watching them. Also, a couple of shout outs. First of all, to Becky and the members of Atherton Indoor Range, where I did the testing for this particular rifle. So thank you very much, Becky. Also, to Borbex on eBay, where I purchased this, which is the the Air Force carbon fiber bipod. And also I went to Amazon and purchased this particular scope. It's a Paik 10-40 by 50. I'll talk about these when I do my overview of my time with this rifle, but I'm just trying to think if there's any other shout-outs. No, that's it. Also, finally, to Mahmood at Eagle Vision, where I purchased the Eagle Vision muzzle brake, and I'll talk about that momentarily, which is sat over there. Right, okay, so my time with this rifle, what have I found? I found that it's great. It's essentially a mechanical Delta Wolf. So for those of you who have had good experiences with the Delta Wolf, I know the latest iterations of the software updates have facilitated better handling and accuracy with the rifle. This is straight from the gate, essentially getting the best of that, but in mechanical form. And I found that when I did my tests with this rifle, that it is what it says on the tin. It's a Ghost, and it's super accurate from all the reviews that I've seen online. I'm just trying to think where else I shall go provisionally before I show you my target sheets. So, when I went to the range, actually prior to the range, I cleaned the barrel, and I unfortunately do not have the pull-through pads that I put through. I think I put through about 3, because the rifle was used when I purchased it from Richard Hartley. So hi, Richard. And when I texted him, he provisionally said, yeah, you know what, I'd suggest giving it a clean, obviously starting afresh. So I did, and there was some residual dirt, if you want to call it that, on the pull-through slips. But after 3 of them, it was fine. And so when I got to the range, I thought, you know what, one of the first things I'm going to do is bed it in a bit before doing my shooting. And then I must have put maybe, I don't know, 20 pellets through it just to get it bedded in. And normally I put more through it. And surprisingly enough, these tests are with a few pellets going through it, knowing that the accuracy, even after these tests, is going to improve. So that's a good thing. The other thing that I haven't got here in front of me, which I'm sure you've seen on the channel before, is my... goodness, I forgot the make now. The precision shooting rest that I use. Goodness, the names evaded me for some reason. Anyway, I use my my precision shooting rest to use to essentially shoot from when I did the tests, to eliminate as much shooter error as possible. And it's only recently that I've purchased this bipod that I want to go back and do some further tests with an overbore bipod. And when the opportunity to purchase this one came up, I know they're predominantly for Steyr Pro X's or Pro X Scouts, but because they're 9 to 11mm dovetail, I thought as well with the carbon fiber legs they'd suit the Ghost, and I was right, and I'm really pleased about that. Just as well, I talked about the scope. The other thing I was kind of thinking about, what scope to get, and again, a shout out to one of the members of Atherton Indoor Range, Dwayne Hall. He was at the range when I was doing my Panthera testing, and he was showing me an Amazon scope that he purchased, which was relatively cheap. And to be fair, it's one of those where, you know, when you're buying a scope, you're skeptical about it, especially if it's cheap, especially if it's unbranded or a brand you've never heard of. But he was raving about it. He said for the money it was superb. And when I looked through it, saw the reticle, saw the glass, saw it at distance, I was like, well, you know what? He's right. So I went ahead and purchased it. and use this for the testing. What I'll do is I can leave a link to this particular scope in the description. However, I've been looking to purchase another one, believe it or not, but they're currently unavailable in the UK anyway. I know you can purchase them from eBay, for example, but I'll tell you now that given the opportunity, I will happily purchase another one from Amazon. So when it came to do the testing, let me show you this. I dug out a couple of old magazines from my Delta Wolf. So they're exactly the same for the Ghost. So they've got the ball bearings at the back. They're still the same shot count. So I was able to use the double feed feature, which is back-to-back magnets. And essentially what I did was, let's go over to the rifle for a moment. And I was able to just cock it back, move the pellet probe back. I was able to put one in from this side, like this, and one in, let's just reposition myself so you can see, and one in from the other side like this. And then when you push them together, they click like that. So currently that one's ready to be cycled, and when it's empty you just simply go like that. Well, it's not supposed to come out because I pushed it with force, but normally there you go. And the other one's ready to go now on that side. So it was nice to be able to do that, the double feed feature using the magazines. I'll just pop that out. And also, just to confirm, when I did my testing, I'll just pop those magazines down there. When I did my testing, I also used the Eagle Vision muzzle brake that I mentioned for some of the pellets. This is the larger 60mm version, which once mounted on the rifle looks very cool. But I did some of my testing naked with the rifle pretty much in this form, and then with the Eagle Vision muzzle brake. I'm aware that I've just provisionally cocked the rifle, so I'm just going to release it now. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. It has got a snap to it, but again, because I wasn't doing my backyard testing and I was testing at the range, it was perfectly fine. So I thought, you know what, I will do the testing. I also got my FX chronograph. I didn't suspend it from the end of the barrel. Instead, I mounted it underneath via a tripod so I could chrono it and get some numbers and see how the reg's doing on this thing, because it's a Huma reg after all. Let's have a look at some of these sheets and I'll talk you through them. So, test number 1 was with Rangemaster Sovereigns. Now, I've got, fortunately, quite a few Rangemaster Sovereigns because I stocked up, I think it was end of last year or middle of last year, with Rangemaster Sovereigns for both my Delta Wolf and also for my Red Wolf Midnight. And fortunately for me, in the instructions, the tests done at the factory were with Rangemaster Sovereigns, 8.44 grain. So I thought I'll start with these. Now, this is 25 yards using Rangemaster Sovereigns, groups of 5s and 3s. Now, you'd expect this, to be fair, at 25 yards, but this is after doing the clean, about 20 pellets, just shot through it, just to bed it in slightly, and yep, it is what it says on the tin. First shot to 0 over here on the target, and then straight away these were 0 shots over here, and then I started back up here doing 5s and 3s, like this. And all of them, don't know if you can see over here, there is my fingernail. Perfect, great. Again, look at that little fingernail there. So well within a 5p piece at 25 yards, as you'd come to expect. And just to go through this, here are the chrono results from this. So 112 shots. This is in feet per second as opposed to foot-pound. So just snipped over 800 once, I think it was, or twice. I think it was once. But an average of 792, spread of 33, standard deviation of 5.6. And again, these are the results. So pretty consistent at the upper end of 11 foot-pounds. So again, very happy with these results. Very happy indeed. At 25 yards. And there's my final three. I always do this, final three. But I always bear in mind that my head is in different positions at this point. And I need to put something over here just to make sure that maybe get one of those extending eye relief attachments so it slots onto the end of the scope so that I can maintain the same eye position every time. But yeah, I'm making excuses really, but I tried my best with 3 shots at the S. But still, fantastic grouping. Anyway, that's 25. And then I thought, right, time for 40. 40 yards, maybe some different pellets too. So, this is 40 yards. So I did 3 tests here. Now, each of these rows corresponds to different pellets, okay, at 40 yards. So test number 1 was with the Rangemaster Sovereigns. Test number 2 was with the Rangemaster Sovereigns. I say number 2 because it's a 40-yard test. Test number 3 was with QIS Streamlined 9.56 grains. And then test number 4 was with the QIS, but with a muzzle brake. Now notice I haven't tried the JSB exacts with this yet, because to be fair, I was limited on time and I needed to do another test with another rifle, which is the Effecto Xeon, so stay tuned for that video coming soon. Anyway, let me show you what I did. So here's the Rangemaster Sovereign groups at 40 yards. Here's the QIS Streamlined. Some more Rangemaster Sovereign zeroing at 40 yards. So I wanted to change and make sure that the crosshair was exactly at the point of impact rather than stay zeroed for 25 and use some holdover 40. And here is the Streamlined with the Eagle Vision muzzle brake. Whilst we're talking about the muzzle brake, let's just slip it on and I'll show you how excellent it looks with this thing on. So notice I didn't choose to use a silencer, as I mentioned, because we're in a range and there's not much point silencing a rifle in a range unless you want to test it the point of impact with a silencer. This thing though, you have to be mindful that you have to make adjustments to, once you've put the thread on over here, you have to make adjustments to it and then tighten it down using grub screws so that the actual stripper faces the direction that you want it to. So it is interchangeable to different rifles, but as soon as you do that, it might, for example, sit like this on one, or like this. So anyway, I made all of those changes prior to shooting so that it sits perfectly. And that's what it looks like. So I'm pleased with that. Excuse me. Excuse me. There's another one of the reasons why I haven't been able to make the video, because I've not been too well and recovering. Anyway, this is 40 yards with the Eagle Vision muzzle brake. So as you can see from the back of the sheet, the group slightly opened up, very slightly, but still, again, just using my fingernail as a benchmark over here. Still, the groups are looking relatively tight. But this is, bear in mind, not at its full potential, because the barrel's not been leaded in as much as I would like. And I'm going to essentially do some more tests maybe this week or early next week back at the range to get the rifle bedded in more and do some more pellet testing. But forward facing, this is what it looked like to me. So this is essentially the Rangemaster Sovereigns over here. And then these are the Streamlined over here. This is 13 shot group with the QISs. And then this is, I think all of this is with the muzzle brake. Now notice this as well with the muzzle brake. It does get slightly tighter, which is why, like that, the groups get slightly tighter. So the muzzle brake does make a difference. And here are the Chrono results. So again, with the Rangemaster Sovereigns, we're seeing a similar standard deviation. There we go. Let's just put them in front of the camera so you can see them. Over here. And then over here with the QISs. And then finally with the muzzle brake, it went down, which is interestingly enough, at 40. But notice lower feet per second with the QIS pellets than with the Rangemaster Sovereigns. Obviously because they're weighted differently. Also, roughly around now, I needed to fill the rifle up as well. So I filled it up because it was approaching 100 bar, and if I recall rightly, the Humor Reg set to around 100, so it was time to change. So overall, let's compare the two sheets. So that's 40, and here's the 25. And again, as I mentioned, not shooting at its full potential. I was using I remember the name now, the Caldwell Precision Shooting Rest to try and eliminate shooter error. So I was pleased with the results overall. And I know that maybe it prefers the Rangemaster Sovereigns slightly more than the QIS pellets. And I haven't tried the JSB Exacts nor the heavies yet. So that is something to bear in mind, so stay tuned, maybe with a follow-up. But overall, I'm really liking this rifle, really liking it, because it reminds me of my Delta Wolf in its raw form, in that my Delta Wolf now, I've pretty much kitted it out with a load of PRS gear. So it's got the PRS buck hook, monopod, it's got the extended rail at the front. Now, in that, guys, I'm using a different scope on that. In fact, I'm using a Day-Night Vision Sight Mark Wraith, which is a lot heavier. So combined with the rifle and all the PRS gear, it's heavy. It's heavy, the Delta Wolf. This is like a lighter version because I haven't added all the PRS gear. Happy with the bipod I've mounted, happy with the scope. I think adding the air stripper provides the additional accuracy I'm after. So overall, I'm really pleased with the results. And given the opportunity of trying out different pellets at 40 yards and plus, I've spoken to my good friend Ty Hops, who's one of the range officers, and we're talking about shooting back at Atherton next time we meet at maybe 70 yards. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rifle performs shooting at those distances. And I know that there's more and more YouTubers who are using the opportunity to create videos at sub 12 shooting at 100 yards. And again, given the opportunity, I'd love to meet Joey Oliver, who's from the Airgun Forum. And hi Joey, just let's arrange that shooting with different rifles at 100, because he's made one recently, which I thought was really cool. Anyway, this is my time with this rifle. I'm pleased with the results. I'm looking forward to what this thing can do in the future as I try different pellets and also try it out at further distances. So far, so good. So that comes to the end of this video. If you've liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned at the start, a huge thank you to you, the viewers, who have watched the videos, who have liked them, who have subscribed to the channel. As I mentioned, I'll keep making them if you keep watching them. Stay tuned for some more exciting videos coming very, very soon. Some new stuff also coming up very, very soon, which I've got my eye on. Fingers crossed, let's see if I can get hold of it. But that's coming soon. For now, take care, stay safe, and I will be back very, very soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.